Hello, 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 hello. Hello, Facebook world. How are you this evening? It's Lynette here, your creative goddess, your thought leader, and your emotional trainer. Oh my goodness, I've had something like just so pressing on my heart today, and I actually watched someone's live not too long ago, that was just on a live about the same thing. And I thought, you know what, I've got to speak up about this because, this is the main thing that we all need to do. I'm talking to myself because I'm guilty of not doing this actual thing, which, could just move things along into how it should be in what we're supposed to do. And a lot of the time we let it let things get in the way. We get distracted. We um you know we focus our energies on other things that don't necessarily come into play with the plan, because let's face it, we if we're serious about going forward with what we need to do, then we're going to have a plan, and we're going to discipline ourselves to focus on it. I mean, I said a word there, discipline, which, this is the key ingredient for all of us. And it's just one of these things where we just have to be like on it with the tough love, because that's what I use for myself, in terms of really just mastering the emotions and saying to myself, no, Lynette, you have to do it. You said you was going to do this, and you have to do it. Now, so what am I talking about? If you look above the this live, I'm talking about being consistent. I mean, consistency is such a big deal for all of us, and I know that some of us it's difficult, and I do honestly say that because I know that I'm going through it myself right this moment. Now, when I say that, I mean with what I have had to do, and I say I've had to, I must do. It's a case of basically unraveling old habits, and goodness me, I'm telling you that is not one easy thing to do. And to do that, it's just, you're actually going into yourself with deep um what can I say, how can I describe that kind of way of just really focusing on what you need to do for yourself. Just really saying to yourself, like, I'm gonna just go deep, and this time I'm gonna really look hard and not do it as surface work, because that's not what's gonna get us anywhere. And basically, it's a case of it's gonna be painful. Sometimes it's painful. It's painful. And that's probably one of the reasons why we procrastinate and we do not stay on the job. I mean, I'm putting it raw to you guys because it's painful sometimes. But if we need to go the whole hog in what we need to do, we will go deep in what we need to get done for ourselves. And I think sometimes when we don't do the work, in my case, I know that if I haven't done the work on myself, which I need to do, which is an ongoing thing, by the way, I'll note that, write that down. It's an ongoing process. When you're doing work on yourself, your own self development, it is ongoing. So every day you're crafting your character in what you want to be, and each day you're saying to yourself, what am I going to do different this today? What do I need to master in my mind for tomorrow? What, you're doing it every single day. It's a consistent ongoing thing. um when you Let me just take you through the steps of how I believe it works. Okay, and I know it works because I've done certain things, and certain things have started to happen. But then obviously you get to a place where you might fall on the hurdle, and things start to happen, and you just have to be so careful. The subtle things just keep creeping in. For instance, the old man, I'm trying to unravel this old man and change my behavior, habits, and the old man tries to creep in into my thoughts, and say things like doubtful things like, no, you can't cope with that, don't go there because, you know this is going to happen, and they're going to say this about you. And you know, it basically it's just noise, isn't it? It's noise, but you got to cut it out. You just got to cut out that noise and don't let anyone influence, because you know your assignment. You know your assignment. That's how I map out everyday things that I have to do. It's an assignment that I have to complete, and I have my priority goals in what I need to do. Right, let me take you back to what I believe is the way that it becomes consistent and why it's so important. This is a big topic. You know, why is it so important that we have to be consistent? I mean, I can talk about my experience and why I believe it is. So the consistency works because if we first of all say to ourselves, we're going to commit to doing this one thing. And I'll give you an example. So, say for instance, I said to myself, one of my priority goals, I am going to commit to, say, clearing this space to bring in new. So, in other words, I'm decluttering and I'm going to clear that space. Now, the first thing you have to think, right, is when you think about that particular thing, you've got to say to yourself, what do you see yourself actually doing to be proactive? What are you actually going to do? So when you're writing it down, you're saying, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm writing down, I am going to be doing this. I am going to be taking each paper out of the box, and I am going to remove my name and address. Let's say I'm doing paperwork, remove my name and address, and I'm going to say, does this serve me right now? And basically I'm going to discard it if it doesn't serve me. You know, that's the kind of thing you want to write down. You write down what your actions are actually going to be, so that way you can see yourself doing it. You know, it's I know it sounds, I'm not going to say it's as simple as that, but it is actually as simple as that. You write down in actions what it is you're actually doing. And then, key thing, listen to this one. Key thing, the next thing you do write down is you write down a time. Write down a time in the day where it's easy for you to do that particular task, because then you know in your mind you have a time against it. So you're going to look at your diary or your plan of action for the day, and you're going to say, this is the time I'm going to be doing this. So in your mind you're thinking, your mind's already logged that and it knows that it's got to do that, you know. So you, number one, you write down the actual actions that you're going to be using. And number two, you write down the time that you are going to be doing this particular task. And that is key. Writing down the time, because obviously you need to choose a time when it's going to be best for you to do that, when you can carry out that task, not a time when, say for instance, I know some people have young children, and you've got to figure out a time when it's best, you know, when the children are not going to distract you, you know, when there's not too many people coming into play. Put your phone on answer phone. You know, you've got to do things like that. You know, it's got to be done. It's no getting away from it. It needs to be done. So you're writing down the time next to it. The next thing that you do is that you I've got it now. It's coming to me. You write down the action. You write down the time that against the task that you're going to be doing, and then the other thing is that you've got to, you know, just visualize yourself doing it. I haven't thought of all the bits and pieces yet. And then you've got to, you know, just put it into a plan. And then once you've done the task, okay, I would say, this is what I would do. I would write down what's the next step. That's what I would do. I would write down the next step. So before you even get to that time the next day, if you've got another part to do in the task the next day, you say to yourself, this is what my next step is. So you already know, you're ahead of yourself. You're ahead of yourself. You write down what you're going to be on the next step in that task. So, you know, it's just one of these things where if you don't be consistent, guess what? The momentum does not build up. It doesn't build up. And when you're given the universe, some people call it universe, I call it God. When you're given, when you've committed to what you said you were going to do, and you're giving the universe, you're giving God, you're giving God permission to come into play with whatever you're doing, because you've asked for this, haven't you? You've asked for it, and basically you're doing your part, and then the universe and God will come in get involved with what you're asking, and then the doors are going to start to open, other things are going to start to happen. All what you want is there, because believe me, everything is already done in the present. It's already happening, it's already planned for you. But it's, if we're not consistent, then what happens is that, what happens if you're not consistent, you build up the momentum. If you decide, okay, today I don't feel like doing this, I don't feel like doing this particular task because I've got a headache, or because I've had too much of a hard day at work today. The kids are bothering me. Oh, this thing is distracting me in my head, this and that. It falls flat. That's what happens. It actually falls flat. And it is actually very hard, even more harder and difficult for you to get up the next time and say, start again. That's what happens. It just falls flat, and then the momentum is just like, suddenly there's all this drum roll and everything's going smoothly, blah blah. You're swiftly moving along, and then suddenly you say, "Oh no, I've come to a bump in the road," and then suddenly you just think, "Oh gosh, you've fallen over," and then you stay down there for a little while. That's basically it. You stay down there for a little while, pondering over whatever it is that's going on at that moment, because obviously there's something going on that's distracted you, or something's coming to play in your mind. And basically, however long you stay down there, that's how hard it's going to be before you get up and start taking up your armor and going back into battle with what you need to do. Because I am telling you, it's a battle. It's a battle, because what are we talking about here? We're talking about your life, aren't we? It's a battle. Nothing good is going to come easy. It's not going to come easy. If we do not become consistent in what we need to do, it is not going to come easy. And so we need to practice our self-discipline in ourselves, and just become that character in what characteristics we need to have. If it's a case of not very focused on what it is you need to do, figure out what it is you need to do to become focused. Figure out what the distractions are. This was the word at my church today, by the way. I went to church today, and actually the word was consistency. The consistency of slaying the old man, and just getting up and going back into war with what you need to be doing. You're fighting for your life on this planet. If you're not going to do it, no one's going to do it for you. We've just got to get back up and, go for gold, because you're worth it. You're worth it. I'm just giving you this live to give you encouragement, because when I have had that discouragement, or when I've been knocked, I call it, I've had to get up. I've had no choice. And I'm telling you, even when I am at my wit's end, when things are really dull, when things are really deep dark, I've had to get up. I have had no choice. I don't have any children to worry about as such. My son is very big. He's a big man, 20-year-old. I don't have that excuse. I have to get up. Okay, let's say there is an exception. Sometimes there are exceptions. I do agree. Obviously there can be an emergency of such. I do agree with that as well. But at the same time, we still got to carry on with what we said we're going to do. We have to commit to it. And just really sort of think about why we're doing it, because I think that has a big part to it. I know with me, I have to look at my why sometimes, because that's where you're going to get the fuel from to carry on and do what you do, because your why, apparently your I believe, sorry, your passion should be attached to that. Whatever you're passionate about, whatever your calling is, that is attached to your why. So that's going to keep you going. Even when it is difficult, even when you are down and out with what it is that knocks you. And bear in mind that what's on my mouth. Bear in mind that the challenges, I call them, they're not bad. It's not a bad thing. They come to strengthen your character. They come to test you. That's what they're there for. You know, it's to test you, to say, how badly do you want this? How badly do you really want to go for that target? How bad do you want it? Do you know what I mean? Are we gonna? Because we don't want people that are doing good as they say they are, and they're not really, sweating blood and tears for it. That's just it. Yeah, most of these leaders and people that go into power and do what they do is because they're passionate about it, and they have had to go through grief as well to get there. They didn't just get there. You know, if we want to play it small, fine. If we want to play small, fine. But those of us that know that we have a mission to be focusing on and doing what we need to do, then we need to just be consistent in doing it, showing up no matter what. You could have, you know, that feeling of downward spiral of how you're feeling, but even though you still get on the live and you still tell people how it is, people need to hear that. There's people out there that need to hear that there is hope, that they are thought of, that they need to be in a certain place to hear. And there's people waiting on you. You know, there's people waiting on you, and you want to be the one that goes first. You want to be the one that goes first in what you want to do. It's as simple as that. Because you know the truth about why you're doing what you're doing. So you want to go first. You want to be that role model to those that are going to come after you. But you need to go first. I can't think of anything else to say on the subject. I can't see anybody watching at the moment. But those of you that do watch me on the replay, I'm going to ask you to hold me accountable. And, I'm going to start showing up big time and just really, going for what I need to be doing. Some of us, we come on and, we do tell our story a lot of the time. And some of us, we have some hardship that we're going through a lot of the time. But, I know it's not always easy to explain the hardship, what's happening. But it would be good to hear more about how you got over some of the hardships that you faced, and what got you back on the treadmill, so to speak. How did you get up again and do what you did? I said to myself, when I had moments or times when I just didn't feel like I wanted to get up and do and show up and do what I need to do, but I actually said to myself, I've got a big picture of why I'm doing it, but I actually said to myself, you know what? If I don't show up for me, then I don't expect people to show up for me. I have to show up for me first. I have to show up and do what I need to do for me, because as well as I'm sharing to other people what they need to know, I'm showing up for me because I'm empowering myself by doing what I need to do. You have to believe in yourself first before you can even try and convince anybody else. We want people that are showing up because they have something to give in what they need to show people in what they do. But yeah, the consistency is the glue that sort of puts everything together. We can have a perfect plan. I don't like to use that word perfect too often. You can have a perfect plan, and we could be saying, yeah, this is bulletproof, this and that, blah blah blah, and this and that. But you know, at the end of the day, unless we're consistent with what we're doing, it doesn't really amount to much. The consistency is what helps with everything when people want to know who you are in terms of know, like, and trust. They see you consistent, they see that you show up consistently, and then they get to know you, you know, and then you know, you're actually driving people towards you, and you're bringing on that energy, and people are gravitating towards you, because then those people, guess what, they're gonna turn into your raving fans. That's what happens. And then eventually what happens when you're consistent, these fans that you have been speaking to, and people that have been watching you, they are actually going to promote you. That's what happens, because they believe in your cause, and they follow the same path that you are following in what needs to be done. So you know, that's the aim, because you want to reach how many number of people. This is how it works. You know, keep the momentum going by being consistent in what needs to be done. Now, I'm just thinking, what else can I leave you with before I depart from this live? Let me just see if I can see anybody on here today. Because it is, what time is it? It's in London town. It is 9:30, and Sunday night. I suspect everyone's kind of like winding down, and it is you know, getting ready for the Monday morning bang and get everything up and going again. But yeah, that's my word that I had to bring to you this evening, because it was just pressing on my heart. And you know, my planning this evening is going to be really, really effective in what I've got to do. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm going to finish it off in a moment. And next week's going to be like, you know, I'm in business. It's going to be, you know, action packed in what I need to do, and really commit to what I'm doing. It's not a joke anymore. I am talking get things done before the end of the year. You know, A, B, and C is going to be done before the end of the year, because I don't want to. I want to come into 2019 basically with things set. You know, in what I've got to, what I've the task for 2019 is open, and the floodgates are going to be open, and I'm doing this, and people are going to show up, and I'm going to show up with, yes, this is me, and this is what I'm doing this year in terms of A, B, and C. So that's how I want to show up. You know, so I know that my days are numbered to plan towards the end of 2018 and get things done. You know, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to be hard on myself to get things done. You know, there's no playing. It's my life here, and I ain't playing with it no more. So, you have it. I have spoken, and I'm telling you, yeah, consistency. It needs to be done. Let me just recap on what the main pointers to do with consistency. Number one was you write down the priority task, what you want to get done each day. Then you write down the words in action. That means that you write down literally what it is you're going to be doing in that task. What do you see yourself doing? It's not saying to yourself, I'm going to clear out the paperwork. It's saying, what do you see yourself doing with the paperwork? What is it you're doing? And then number two, you write down a time in the day when you schedule a time. Sorry, I'll put it a different way. You schedule a time in the day when you are going to do that task. Yes, so it's a time when it's going to be effective, when it's going to be easier for you to get the job done, um, you know, without no distractions, that kind of thing. You know, write down a time when you can be doing it. And also, if you do have family around you, obviously children mainly, then you can actually tell them, you know, because children, you know, They learn from us adults what we do, mainly from what we say, not from what we say, from what we do. So you can actually say to the children, mummy or daddy is going to be doing this at this time, and I don't want any interruptions. You can just let them know. Because, as adults, we have to do our thing too. The children understand that. They know, because obviously as long as we tell them when it's time for their time with you, have time with them, then you tell them as well. So you're teaching them as well. So let them know, or any your partner maybe, let them know that this is the time when I've got to do this, and they can't disrupt your time. Then they can't disturb you when you're doing it. So you let people know that you're doing it at that time if you're around people. There's nothing wrong with that. And number three, sorry, last one, is that when you finish the task, write down the next step for the task. Now that's my golden one, actually, golden tip. Write down the next step of the task. In other words, what do you see yourself doing the next day in that task? If there's more to do in the task, what do you need to see yourself doing in the next day? So you've already planned out the next day part of the task already. So that's how you improve your consistency, I would say. And that's how you would ultimately build up the momentum in getting things done. And then once you've built up the momentum, as I said, what happens is doors start to open because you called it in. You're asking for this, This is what we want, Sounds easy, but it can be done. I'm telling you, it is simple. It can be done. Now, I'm going to hold you. You're going to hold me. I'm holding myself accountable to you guys that are watching. If you watch me on replay, right, put hashtag replay. If you're watching this live, I can't see anyone watching at the moment. Put hashtag live and let me know your views on this, your comments. And tomorrow I'm going to come back on and I'm going to do another live and I'm going to tell you how I'm getting on and inquire how you guys are getting on. But do give me some comments below. Thank you for watching and taking the time to come on this live. I'm going to sign out now, and you guys have a great rest of the evening and a great start to Monday. Because Monday is like the main day, like when, you set out to, save lives and do what you need to do for the week. So, yeah, fire yourself up, people. And I'm going to leave you. Let me see if I can find my favourite. I love these emojis on Facebook, or on my tablet, shall I say. I can't find the one that I had earlier. I'm going to bid you guys good night and have a lovely rest of the night. And let's go through to... Oh, it's not showing up, is it? Oh, here it is. I can see it. Oh, where is it? Oh, here it is. Good evening to you all. Have a good night. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Let's just put it on. I don't know if it's going to come on. Okay, I can't actually see where to turn this off, so I'm going to try and turn it off somewhere else. I'm not sure where. Oh, where is it? I don't want to... Oh my goodness, I can see the comments. I'm so sorry. Okay, guys, just give me some comments and I'm going to get back on it and look at the comments after. Thank you for joining, Richard. Thank you for joining, Chris. I'm hoping that you guys give me some comments. Speak to you soon. Mwah. Mwah.